Trump's new tariffs on foreign goods. Good thing? Bad thing? Let's talk about it. Hi, welcome to Beyond a Thousand Days. My name is Sonia, and I talk about living naturally, joyfully, and unconventionally. For this video, we'll be talking about Trump's tariffs and the way I think it could be a good thing in the long term. I do see some possible unexpected ramifications from this that I just wanted to share with you all today. So, we all know that tariffs are ultimately passed down to the end consumer in terms of the higher prices that they'll have to pay for things that they buy. Now, the president has put these tariffs in place to encourage people to manufacture goods here in the US. 30 years ago, we had outsourced all of our manufacturing, or maybe not all, but a good portion of it, to foreign places like Far East Asia. And while this did bring the cost of goods down because cheaper manufacturing means a cheaper price in the end, the fact is that now in America, we need to create more jobs. We need to save our suffering economy, and this is one move that may do that. Now, with inflation already causing prices to rise, then adding import taxes that would cause prices to rise again, this is not going to be good in the short term because things will become way more expensive than people are used to. Another factor we have to consider is the whole idea of bringing manufacturing back to the US. Now, there were good reasons why they were outsourced besides the cost of labor. And I think ultimately people will not want factories to be built here in America again. For one thing, factories create an enormous amount of waste and pollution, and people are way more eco conscious now than they were 30 years ago. And people will not stand for the amount of waste that will be produced by every factory. Factories that produce waste have to get rid of the waste in a proper manner. The oversight for that kind of thing in China is quite low. China is pretty famous for its pollution and the smog and the tainted soil that it has. I think that Americans will not allow that to happen on American soil. And how do you have production without waste? That's something that's going to definitely come up once these factories get running. The second issue with factories is that will people want to work in a factory? People already complain about working in places like an Amazon warehouse. I think factories are not going to be that much different. Every person will be expected to work as if they are a machine. And no one wants to feel like they're a machine. No one wants to work in a place with these repetitive actions that take a toll on your body and crush your spirit. I know 30 years ago, people were grateful to have a job in a factory because factories paid enough to be a wage that you could live off of. But imagine working in a factory today for minimum wage that pays practically nothing. Well, it pays for some things, but just not enough, right? I don't think people will want to do that. When was the last time you heard a 10, 11, 12-year-old, when asked, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" respond with, "I want to work in a factory"? What kind of future are we making for our children by creating an industrial landscape again and having children look forward to a future in which they are cogs in a machine, where they are factory workers? I don't think that makes America great. Honestly, I would say that people will not want to do that. I will say that children do not aspire to being factory workers. All of this will have to factor into our production philosophies. Let's also point out that producing goods in America will have a higher price tag attached to it because we have to pay fair wages to the factory workers. Unlike in China, where factory workers are paid practically slave wages, which is why the cost is so low in the end product, right? But here, if in America, if you're paying fair wages, it will come out in the cost of the finished product. So Whether we import it with the higher tariffs or we make that product here in America and sell it domestically, the price will still be high. Prices will not come down, they will be high. But I think what this will do is create an opportunity for small businesses, for mom and pop shops to really flourish. Cottage industries, handmade goods will be able to compete with big box stores again. In the past, bigger stores could produce things at scale, bringing the price down and pricing out smaller mom and pop shops. But now, factory made products in the US will not outcompete small mom and pop shops. They might have similar prices because it does cost to produce a thing. And that I think is ultimately a good thing for the American economy. All of this is going to cause a huge shift in the way people think about buying things. Because prices will be higher, people will have to be very intentional about what they purchase. Gone are the days when you can just walk into the dollar store and buy the cheapest Christmas decorations, Easter decorations, or whatever holiday it is, and then the next week throw those decorations into the garbage. Gone are the days of impulse purchases where you can buy three of a thing just because. Not that you needed three of a thing, but you know what I'm saying. You just buy it just because it's there. Now, with higher prices, people will be a lot more intentional about their purchases. Perhaps they will pay more, but they will pay more for better quality and for less quantity, and they will take care of the things that they have. At least I hope so. Because if you're paying a lot of money that you do not have a whole lot of extra, you would definitely value the things that you purchase. And these changes, especially in the way the consumer thinks, will not happen overnight. It's going to be painful. Yes, I think people will cry and complain the entire time. I think it'll be another 10 years maybe before people truly get with the program and realize that we can't just keep producing things that are cheap and expendable. There's a toll on the environment, there's a toll on people's pocketbooks, there's a toll on the people who make those things. We need to be more intentional about it. We need to look at the manufacturing process from beginning to end. In other words, from the where the raw materials come from and how to do this in an environmentally conscious way, to manufacturing it in a fair way with fair labor laws, with people paid wages that are good living wages, and then the end product, when it's discarded, thrown away, or no longer useful, that it's not another toll on the environment. In the long run, these tariffs bringing manufacturing back to the US is a good thing because there will be a huge adjustment to having manufacturing in the US, including the higher prices that this will entail. But it will cause people to be way more intentional about what they use, what they buy, and the impact that it has on society at large. Lastly, I want to point out that who will benefit from bringing manufacturing back into the US? I think Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and beyond are the ones who are going to benefit most from this because they are the ones who will be the consumers of the future. They're built different than previous generations, and they are way more conscious about human rights, about the environmental impact on things, and I hope that these changes will be in alignment with a better future for them. So let me know if you think this is how things will unfold, or do you see a different scenario happening? If you like content like this, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.